Si quieren asistir a este video en español, clic en el link en la descripción.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Thales, I'm from Plugin, and today we're bringing you guys another video, and this is gonna be a troubleshooting. So in other words, let's say that you were trying to calibrate this way. This video is going to be specifically about the lane departure warning systems troubleshooting. So let's say you were trying to calibrate a lane departure of a car and you are having trouble. We are going to try to bring you guys the 10 steps that you should follow, that we follow whenever we have an error trying to calibrate a lane departure camera. So first of all, if you guys would like to watch this video in Spanish, Fernando, my partner here, he made this whole video in Spanish. You guys can check the link on the comments below. And this is gonna be the methodology that we're gonna use throughout this video is that I prepared some slides for you guys. I'm gonna show you guys the slides for each step that we use. You guys can take some notes and put like as a checklist whenever you guys are having a problem trying to calibrate a lane departure, okay? So if you guys like this content and you want some more entertaining videos of this content, please make sure to follow me and follow Fernando at our Instagram. We are posting contents every single day. So let's go and start this video. So first thing to here troubleshooting, and the first thing that we always check when the calibration that we just performed got failed is the lights on our environment. And there are 5 things related to the lights itself that can affect how your camera is detecting the obstacle ahead or the lanes while you're driving the vehicle if you're doing a dynamic calibration. First of all, is the brightness. So let's say that you are on an environment that is not that the light is not 100% controlled by you. So let's say that you have like a big door, which is our case, like a gate where the door is open and the light is coming from outside. You have no control of that. So this is something that you should be aware and try to check the targets and try to see at the point of the camera, and then you're gonna be able to see how the brightness is affecting the vision of your camera over the targets. Or also if you are driving sometimes on the highway doing a dynamic calibration, sometimes the sunny is too bright and is like pointing right on your windshield that maybe on one way it's really hard to detect the lanes, and if you sometimes get the way back it's easier to check the lanes for the camera. So this is something else to be aware. Also the contrast. Let's say that you are on a day that is rainy or that is very dark, or even don't try that, but if you're trying to do a calibration, a dynamic calibration at night, you won't gonna have much contrast. So always be aware of like how the contrast is. Or sometimes when, let's go right here to the glare and reflection. We can go back to the step 3, but contrast, glare and reflection are very similar, not similar, but are something that are interchanged, so that it's good to talk about both at the same time. So when it's like so much glare coming from outside, sometimes it's hard to see how the contrast is on the targets, or if the glare is very high from the sunlight while you're driving the vehicle. Sometimes it's hard for the lens to detect the contrast between the white and black colors of your targets, or the lanes and the street color. So always your camera is trying to detect the difference between this very light color to this very dark color. And if you have glare and reflections, maybe it's going to be really hard for your camera to detect it. Other things are shadows. So shadows can also affect your calibration. Let's say that you are driving on a place. It's really hard to have this on the freeway since we don't have too many objects around that can make shadows. But also when you're trying to calibrate a static car, shadows also can affect your calibration, and you have to like be aware and look for your environment and see if some object is making a shadow right in front of the target that is making your camera not detecting the contrast or the difference between colors right in front of it. And the last thing, but not least, we have the adverse weather condition. And I talked to this while I was talking to the other points. So let's say that you are not going to be able to perform a really well calibration if you are trying to drive on the rain. Or maybe if you are driving on the fog on a foggy day, so it's going to be really hard for your camera to detect the lanes that are coming to you and like try to check in advance. This can also affect the contrast. And this is something that you not just need to be aware when you're doing dynamic calibration. Also, when you're doing my bad. When you're doing static calibrations, you need to be aware of it because we had some problems trying to calibrate some Audis. Then, when the day was too cloudy, we weren't able to perform the calibration. And then this is gonna be up to you. When you see there's so much glare, like the day's too sunny, and is coming a lot of lights from outside, maybe you need to park the car a little bit further from the light. Or let's say when the day is too cloudy and you're not being able to perform a calibration because it's too dark inside, maybe you need to bring the car to a spot where it's closer to the lights coming from outside. I'm saying this when you don't have full control of the brightness on your environment. If you have it, that's perfect. That's going to be a perfect condition. Maybe you need to jump to the next step, which you're going to do right now. So the next step is going to be the distance from the car all the way to the targets. And this is not only making sure that the value that you see on the tablet is the same value that you see on your tape measure or on your lace measure, because um, different brands will give you different distances from different points of the car. So someone will give you the distance that they need a distance from the bumper of your vehicle all the way to the frame. Some other brands will give you the distance from the middle of the front wheels all the way to the frame. And some other brands will need you to measure the distance from the camera all the way to the frame. So you need to be aware of this. Let's say that you're trying to calibrate a Nissan and you are measuring the distance from the target all the way to the car, which is saying on your tablet 3008 millimeters. Sometimes you are seeing, oh no, I see here on the tablet 3008 millimeters, and I see here that is 308 millimeters. Oh, I'm doing fine. But then when you're gonna check, you measure the distance from the bumper. Let's say you are doing a bad measurement, you will need to do it again because otherwise your calibration will fail because the distance for Nissans are from the middle of the front wheels all the way to the frame. And guys, believe me, this happens. This happens. Let's go for the next step. So if you already checked the lights, you already checked the distance, you're good. Let's go to the next one. And the next one, I put Joey here with this face because it's like, oh, this is so obvious. But sometimes it isn't. Because one thing is, uh, sometimes you're like so habituated to do the calibrations that you see only the picture of the target and you go right away and you pick up the targets and maybe you didn't check the values, the code of the target. And some targets are very similar. For example, the targets for Nissans and the Hondas, you will notice that the Hondas are a little bit larger than the Nissans, but you can make a mistake. So always check the targets. Another thing is that in this case, let's go back to the Hondas. You got the right targets, and then you put the targets, and your calibration got wrong. Maybe it could be because you put the sides on a different spots. You mixed the sides. Because like right there is saying, oh no, this one is on the left and this one is on the right, but maybe you were looking for a different point of view and you put it differently. So always make sure left side is for the driver's side of the vehicle looking from the vehicle, and pass and right side is the passenger side of the vehicle. So maybe this could be one thing that you made wrong. And believe it or not, this already happened to me. Another thing is to check the distance between the targets. Let's say that you are on a day that you are performing tons of calibrations. Like you did one, you did another one, you made a Nissan, and then you made a Mitsubishi, and then you made a Corolla, and you go doing calibrations all the way. Maybe when you're setting up the calibration for a new car, this this thing doesn't gonna happen when you're like on a dealership and you're doing the same brand and the same type of car every single day. But when you're trying to calibrate different brands and models, this can happen more often than you think. And always check the distance between the targets. Maybe you are missing for a little bit, or maybe it moved if you didn't like screw all the way down the safety row. So make sure that the distance are the same ones that you are seeing on the tablet. Okay? And sometimes it happens to me all the way when I started to perform a calibration. And it was, I believe it was a Honda Odyssey that the Autel wasn't showing the right value on the tablet. I was able to find this on the internet and perform the calibration. Now they already corrected it and it's totally fine. But maybe the information is wrong. I think that nowadays is not, it doesn't happen very often. It's really rare, but it already happened to me. So that's something that I'm bringing you guys from my experience. Okay. Um, Next step, check the height of the targets. And I know you guys might are might watching this video and say, oh, these things that he's saying are very obvious. But believe me, guys, this happens very often. And as I said, which would be mostly my case, your case, we deal with a lot of different brands, with a lot of different models. And sometimes our targets or frame is already set it up on a position, on a height position, and we for some reason forgot to change the height, your calibration will go wrong. Or some other situation that already happened to me as well is that I was measuring the height, and in our case we use Altel. I forgot to put the ruler all the way to the ground. And although, let's say you are calibrating a Toyota Camry static and it's asking you to put 1350 millimeters, you check there, oh, it's 1350 millimeters, but you forgot to point the ruler to the ground, your calibration will go wrong because always is the distance from the ground all the way to the middle of the target. So be aware of that as well. Height is important. The next thing is, if everything else you checked and you're good, now it's time to check the position of the camera. And this is something that is not always that not always depend of the technician who is performing the calibration, but mostly will depend of the technician who replaced the windshield. And for some brands, it's very obvious where the camera is supposed to go. But for some other brands, this is not that obvious. And it can happen that the technician who replaced the windshield might put the camera on the wrong spot. And this is something that you need to be aware of. And this is why also that we are bringing content of how to remove the covers for the camera, so you guys don't be afraid because it's a plastic piece. You guys might be like afraid of removing it, so we are bringing videos of how to remove all brands and models that we have contact with. But also, if you guys want, we can bring you guys more content about how to put the camera on a specifically make and model on the right way. We can bring you guys this content if you guys comment below and ask for it. This is gonna be really helpful, even for us and for you guys as well. Also, I want to bring you guys an example that I don't remember the exact range of Nissan's Versas that had this specific type of camera, but I would say 2020 Nissan Versa. There was a camera that had like two pins on the side, and guys, believe me, this was more obvious to this was actually for these Nissans. After I checked and I got one that the camera was installed wrong. Every single Nissan that I started to do the calibration failed at the first time. This was the first thing that I checked because more often the technicians couldn't put the camera at the right place, and this is one case that we had to do an intervention and talk to the technicians and show them the right way to put the camera, but it affected the performance of the calibration and you had to redo it. Another one that is hard to put and more often the technicians won't put it right. Maybe the Audis, the older Audis, that is the big camera that has a gel on it. There's like two pins, one at the like right at the bottom and another one up high that you need to match it in order for the camera to be fully attached and be at the right position. So this is another thing. Another thing to have in mind is that some cameras you will need to manually adjust the angle after it's installed, so you will need to check this as well. And let's go to the next step. The next step is going to be, so another obvious things, but keep this in mind, is clean the windshield. That might be obvious, but maybe there is something on outside of the windshield that is making your camera not detecting the targets really well. And this is gonna be a case of your intervention to go there and clean the windshield, especially on the little triangle where the camera can see through. And maybe you cleaned the outside and your calibration is not being performed, you're having fail, you're having trouble. This is the case to also check the inside of the windshield. We posted some videos on our Instagram, me and Fernando, about a problem, a trouble that we had with a 2022 and old and newer version of a Nissan Rogue that we had already 3 times to clean the inside. Let's say maybe it's because of the design or something, but it was accumulating dust inside of the camera, so we had to like got a cotton swab and clean it right inside because there is a cover and it's hard to reach it. Maybe you're not gonna be able to reach with your hands to clean it with a piece of cloth or paper. So you have to get a cotton swab and clean inside to make sure that the inside of the windshield is also cleaned. So inside, outside, this is another thing to be aware of. If everything is good, you already check it, let's go to the next step, which is the height of the vehicle. So in our case, we work with a business that most of the cars are original, so they have original height, original suspensions on the vehicle, and we don't have much trouble with this. But maybe there is a car that come that the height is different from the original height. And this is will for obvious reasons affect the measurement of the heights of your targets and other setups that you need to do on your calibration. So please be aware of it. Also, as an advice, if you guys want, you can change the values based on the height that they changed of the vehicle, but also you can avoid to even try to calibrate these cars because maybe you will have some problems and it's going to be hard to perform the calibration due to the OEM standards for calibration procedures, okay? So you checked the height is original. Let's jump to the next step. And the next step is going to be follow the instructions. And guys, this is something that is also obvious, but if you have already done all of it and nothing worked, maybe it's time to put a step back, get the book, get the tablet, and read a little bit with more attention through it. Because maybe at some point you're doing this for so long or you did this so many times and you didn't even read through the tablet. And maybe there is a pass through, for example, as we guys already made another video on our Instagram. Let's say you're calibrating a Nissan Sentra and you need to do a pass through, and then you need to turn the ignition on, oh, turn the ignition off, turn back on, step the accelerator twice, wait 10 seconds in order to perform your calibration. Maybe uh, it's asking for you to leave the ignition on and you left the ignition off, or it could be the contrary. Uh, it would ask you to leave the ignition and engine on and you leave it off. Also, another thing is the parking. The Sometimes it will tell you to leave the parking the parking brake, the parking brake on and you might forget and leave it off. So these are things that if you read thing by thing on your tablet, you will be aware of, and maybe it's something that passed and you didn't pay too much attention to it. This is another step. And the last step that we brought to you guys, of course, there are more steps. And also, if you guys want that we bring you guys more troubleshooting, please comment below so we can bring it to you guys. It's a flat surface. And the flat surface, it's really important because it doesn't, we are trying to always try to demystify this whole thing of being on a perfect 100% good condition. It doesn't need to be like that, but also it cannot be like a very declined place where the difference from the heights can affect a lot your calibration. And this is a thing to be aware. Always make sure that you are not on a perfect and flat surface, but that is not inclined or declined enough that will affect your calibration. As a matter of fact, we already had some trouble with a minor decline that we have where we used to perform our calibrations, and we were trying to calibrate a Mazda, and in this specific case it was the ACC for this Mazda. Was we do on Mazda's CX-5, CX-30s, and other models as well. But for this one specific, we were trying to perform the calibration of the front radar, and due to the minor inclination that we had on our surface, we were not able to perform the calibration, and we had to park the car in another way where the surface was not perfect, but it was flat, more flat than the surface we were trying to do the calibration before. That then, when we park it on a different spot, the calibration was performed and we were able to do it. So now we always know that when you need to calibrate this type of car, we need to park it somewhere else in order to perform it successfully. Okay, guys? So that's it for today. I brought you guys this 10 troubleshooting that we always are aware of. Make sure to write it down, put on a checklist so you guys can maybe troubleshoot your calibrations for lane departure. This is for lane departure, more easy. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you guys have some questions, concerns, or even tips for us, please leave a comment below. We will try to read all of it. Actually, we will read all of it, and we will answer as soon as we can. And please make sure to subscribe to our channel if you like this type of content. Also, click on the like button and leave a comment if you have questions, as I said. Also, me and Fernando, we have our Instagram, and we are every single day posting new contents that are more dynamic about this field that we are talking here in our YouTube. So if you'd like this type of content, please go there and check us out. And thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your attention, and make sure to always stay plugged in. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Take care.